Hello, hello. This is Paulina from Paulina Art Stuff, and we are back. We're back for part 6. Oh, yes. Yes, we've already done 5 parts on this lovely double page spread. So, yes, it has been some time before we got to this, and today we're going to continue. So, we are going to work on, let me move it a bit. We're going to work on this boat. We're going to work on the barrels. And we're also going to work on these barrels and all of this. That's our main focus today. And we will see how far we will get. So yeah, that's the plan. And we're going to start with the boat today. So that's the first thing we're going to give some color. And we're going to start with the black 199. I don't need this one for that one because it's in an extender. Because it's really small and this is wide enough for me to hold. So 199 black, that's the first color that we're going to use, and we're going to use it on the boat. So I want the inside to be dark, the front I want to be more like this part of the ship, like the really warm tone, and then this part gets dark on the right and less dark on the left. So that's what we're going to try to do. So we're going to shade in the entire inner section, except for the side planks where you can sit on. We're not coloring those in. Just giving it a light layer of black all the way. Just like that. I don't want to color the edge, the top edge of the boat. So I want to add in a little bit of light on that piece. Only adding some on the lower part of the rowing spawn. I'm not sure how you call that in English. You know what I mean. The paddling device. Adding in a little bit more black to make it a little bit darker. And after this we're gonna go in with a brown tone. And because we put down the black first, it will make the color on top a lot darker, like a darker shade of itself. So that's what we're going to do on the inside. Then I'm also going to add it on the sides of the boat, like here. Something like that, you know. Make it nice and dark. Also adding it here. This is the top of the boat, so I don't want to shade that part. I only want to shade the side of the boat. So I'm also adding in some in between the planks for some contrast. So that it becomes 3D once we put in the brown. Might add in some more black after this layer, but it depends on how it looks. Then I'm also adding it on this side, just only on that, and then also on the other side to create a dimension. Otherwise it will be really flat looking. That's the other side of the boat, which we can barely see. Yes, okay. Then I want to shade the bottom of the boat even darker. Making like that you can see the lines that the artist already put there. Otherwise it's just one big blob after we finish the next color. But now we can see the values of our shading. Because if this is still white, it's hard to tell if it's dark enough. That's why I first did one layer. I'm sorry. My throat is a little bit rough today. So it might sound a little bit like I just woke up, which I actually also did. So I hope it will clear up a little bit when we get further into the video. Feels like there's a frog inside. But yeah, it's alright. It will be better. Like that. You see, now we've got a lot darker on the inside. It already has shape just by doing this. I want a little bit more on this part because it's not rounded enough the way it looks right now. Like that. And that's all we're gonna do on the boat for the black. Then I'm gonna move to the barrel. These two. And I want to make the barrels itself the same shade as the boat. And the edge I'm thinking of either a bronze kind of tone, or gold. But because we've got a lot of gold on this side and there's also a barrel next to it and it has some nails on it, I am not sure if I want that. So I probably want to make those nails, these ones, a gold like the coins. So this part I want to make a different shade. So I think I might go for more of a bronze look instead of a gold, a yellow gold. So we're gonna shade also the lantern. This part should be really dark because it's not reached by the lamp. Same for these parts. Should be rather dark. And the top bits as well. As you can see, I leave the middle part a little bit white to make it three-dimensional. Just adding in the black first, and we do the same with this one, the small one. So we're adding in black all over the page first before we pick another color. Just so that you're aware what we're gonna do. I also want to add in a little bit on this, just a little bit, not too much. And this is also going to be a bronze stone, same as these parts. I want to keep the metal of this and the lamp all roughly the same, and also on the candle, the candelabra, that one, the candle holder. I want them all roughly the same shade. So we will add that in once we get the next color. Adding in a little bit of the bottom to give it a little bit more shape. This part I want to lightly shade, not a lot at all, because I want that really light because of the light of the candle. But this part I do want to shade. It's sometimes difficult to know exactly what's going on, but as you can tell, it's looking nice already with just black on it. Let me take a sip of my drink. There we go. That's better. Feels better. I don't want to shade this too much, because this will also be reached by the light. So this is the metal bit. I'm going to make it really dark on the left, like a really nice black. But be careful with the paper, because you can't press too hard, because this paper will rip. If your pencil is even a tiny bit sharp, it will rip the paper. Just be gentle. So we're making it a gradient. To get the 3D shape. As you can see, it has a 3D shape. Just like doing that. So this highlight will go all the way down. So you can do, like, for instance, a small line. So you know roughly what to keep light if you don't know exactly how to do it. That's how I usually do it, if I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Wanted more black on the side for contrast. This part I also want really black, and then a bit lighter. I don't want to color everything the same, so I'm making it really dark next to the lines and in between, and then everything else I will go from light to dark every single time, making gradients so that there's some difference in the coloring after we've done this. Will look much nicer once we add in a brown or a yellow brown, orangey brown, depending on what we pick. I'm not quite sure yet. As you can see, I've written down the page number. It is not there normally. Just keep that in mind. So I'm just gonna color over it. It might not even show up after we're done. But yeah, I like numbering my pages. It's just a me thing. And it will not be that noticeable once we are done anyway. I just like it, so I can have an easier time marking off what I've done in a book. That's why I'm doing it mainly. So I know which pages I've done and which ones I've not. Alright, I want this part really black. It's pretty hard on the edge. Let me use the side of my pencil. Yeah, that's better, much better. Difficult on the edge of the paper. Okay, this is the edge, so that we want to keep light. Maybe a little bit on the left and a little bit to the right. Like that. Because there's rope over it, so you will not have that much light on the edge. And there we will have some light. I will also make a little bit of shading there, because it looks weird that the rope just ends there. It doesn't end just there. Excuse me. I've got a little bit of a sore throat. Not really sore, more like a dry throat with a dry cough. And it is probably because of the weather outside with all the flowers, allergies, that kind of stuff. But yeah, usually it kicks onto my voice. And it makes me a bit tired. So that's why I've got a little bit of a rough voice. But it doesn't hurt. It's usually just more of a nuisance, you know, like a bit more annoying if you want to talk to someone. These parts I also want really dark. These a little bit lighter, and in between I want it completely black again. You see that there's not even a line here. It's just nothing there. We fixed that. And here, the same with this one. No line. Unbelievable. The picture isn't even complete. Same here, no line. Let's just make them ourselves. Didn't even notice that until I started coloring this bit. It's fine. We can fix that. Alright, this part I want really black as well on the left. I put my finger like this with my nail, so that if I color, you see I tap my finger instead of like off the page. Like then my finger will be black, but that's alright. We can clean that up. But it avoids you from going any further than what you intended. Otherwise it will be really annoying. Same on this one. Make it dark next to the lines. Let's start with that. And then shade it in. See? Maybe a little bit more black to the side. And this part as well. Dark on the side. Lighter in the middle. And again dark on this part. And there we go. Then I'm also going to do the same for the rope. So the right side, this part, should be dark because the light is coming from the left. So the left part will be hit by it. So you don't want to shade that. And I'm following the lines a little bit to make the more 3D. It's tiny, so there's not much space for too many details. That's alright. We'll make it work. This part is also out of view, so I want it dark. And like that. And that's it for this part. Then we move. You see, like, I'm gonna show it closer to you so you know what we've done. The boat. And the light source and the barrels. It already looks really nice. But this is just the base. So we have an easier time when we add in the color. Now we're going to do the same on these barrels. So this part will be just black. Because there's only light coming from here. There's no light. This is way too far, that light source on the left. So it should be really dark. So I probably am going to make it just black. I'm going to use the side of my pencil instead. It's easier. It's difficult in these little tiny bits. And there we go. Nice and black. Whoppa. Coloring this also a little bit black. This part as well. So we've got an easier time once we get to it. Alright, this is also still the back. This is the top bit, so that should be lighter. So this is also still really black, but not as black as the bottom because that's even lower. This part should be really black as well. It's the inside. But this one I make a gradient again from dark, light, 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 lighter, and to dark again. I don't want any white because it's the back side, so there shouldn't be a real highlight. Should just be shaded differently. Pretty black I want it again. Oh, gentle, the paper doesn't like this. Careful. Almost destroying my own paper. It's difficult if the paper is like this. Alright, I'm shading the sides of the knobs, the nails, whatever you want to call them. And I'm also shading this part to the sides. Not too much. This is the outer edge again, so it should be all the way, if my hand wants to do that at least. It should be all the way dark. And the same with this one. So let's do that as well. And the last one as well. There are 3 of them. So let's first do that to make it easier on ourselves, so we know which parts to color how. And I'm not sure what this is. Probably the ground. Oh my goodness, the ground. So that should be also that brown, but let's leave it for now. We're working with our black. Okay, so the top bit I want a little bit black, and then we make it a little bit lighter to this part, not too much shading. And then I want this part darker again. This I want like half of it in the light, and then this part should be really shaded again. That's what I'm trying to do here, but I don't want it all the way black, just parts of it, following the lines on the page. You see how I do that? Following the lines where it should be really dark, darker to the outside of the barrel, and then coloring it in, making a gradient darker to the outside. This is not dark enough. Oh, my book is moving. Again, a number, and it's gone already. You can barely tell there was a number there. Okay, making this part a little bit darker. It's difficult coloring the edge. Instead, I'm coloring my nail. I got baby towels next to me to clean my hands, because usually the sides get really dirty from laying it all over the page. But with this paper it's not that bad, because the paper is really it's as if the pencil is stuck to it. There is not much, like if I do this, you have a little bit. Usually I would have a lot more. So it doesn't really move that much once you done it. Once you put the color down. So yeah. And darker on the edge again. Just like the rest of it. There we go. Want it a little bit darker here. Some contrast between this and that. Alright, let's shade those knobs again. Nails, whatever they are. I think it should be nails to keep it in place. Probably. Shading this as well. Not the nails, just around it. Till about there. The same as the other one. The inside isn't dark enough. There we go. So yeah, that's how I do it, methodically all over the page. So now we're going to do the one behind the chest, which I want pretty dark because it's behind it. Not really sure how dark I want it, but pretty dark. So there won't be much white left, because I just want it dark. Using the side of my pencil. And let's continue coloring again. There we go. I'm thinking the light only hits the top, so the side is not reached by that light, because it's right on top of the barrel, so it won't reach this. It might reach these parts that stick out, but not the barrel itself, at least not a lot. So we want it rather dark, not too dark, because I want it like that roughly. A little bit of shading underneath the coin, and a bit of shading because of that part. But this part you can't even tell, see? Because it's behind the other chest. And so is everything else of this chest. Okay. So be it. A necklace of some kind. Not sure if I what color I want for that, for those pearls. I think they are pearls. We will decide that once we've done everything else, because then we can really pick nice bright colors like red, emerald green, blue, you know, that like the real nice color. And we will add that in all over the jewels, but I will explain once we get there. For now we're just shading this in. Alright, this part I want dark. As you can tell, I leave the sides light, because that's where the light hits, but on the inside it almost cannot hit it because of the shape. This part should also be black. This part it can hit, but not all of it again. Same as everything else. This part should be mostly black because it's underneath. You can immediately see the shape of it changing, as if it's actually 3D. Well, before it was just flat. And that's how you do it to begin. You want a little bit of shading underneath the wax that's dripping. Should be a little bit of shading inside. And we're doing the same with this part. Same idea. But this time we also have to think of that one. So there should be more light here. And the right can be dark, because there's no light coming from this side. So yeah, this one will have a darker shade on the inside, because this one doesn't reach it, see? Because it has to go past that point. So if you put your pencil like that, you can see it doesn't reach that anyway. But this one does, see? And that one does as well, see? So that's how you roughly know where to shade and where not to shade. But it's always a guess with these kind of, this is like complicated lighting, because there are multiple light sources in one spot. But that's roughly how you know. It's not exact, but so this is also the same, more light, because there's more lights that hit it. Same with this one, a little bit on that one. And that's how you do it for each part of every element on the page. You have to think, where is the light source coming from? That's why I'm also shading these on the left and the right side, because they are lighting each other up. This one I should have done only in the middle, but because there's wax here, I wanted some shading on that part. So those are those two. Then we've got a little bit of this barrel that I want to shade really lightly. Not too much, because there's a lot of light coming from the candles. Just next to the jewelry, to make it stand out a little bit. Otherwise it will fall away completely. You can't even tell it's there. So yeah, that looks nice. I want a little bit more shading on this part, because it looks a bit flat now. Don't make it like a perfect blend, because I'm imagining these barrels to be old, so it needs to look old. So if you make this too perfect, it will look also perfect, you know. Like if wood is being aged, it doesn't look perfect anymore. I want this chest to be red, like a really bright dark red, but the inside should be dark. So this whole part, like this whole shape, should be really dark, and this part as well, but I want some gradient from light to dark on that one. This one probably as well, but I'm first gonna just shade it. Don't think too much of it, just shading it. But yeah, if you don't have a lot of time to do this, of course you can just do this technique on just one item, you know. You don't have to go all over the page like I do. I like doing that so that it's all done once I'm finished with this color. That's what I like to do. That's how I like to work. But if you don't have a lot of time, it's okay. Just write down your combinations. Like name the piece, for instance. You know, you put a stick-it note, write down chest, and then the colors you used for what. Even if you have to write down an entire description of what you did, just so you know what you've done. Same with the gold. If you don't know how to do it, write it down for the next time, so you don't have to figure it out all over again. Because that happens, especially if you don't work on a whip for like weeks on end. Let me erase that part. There we go. All right, now we're gonna, but as you, that's what I want to say. As you can see, I left some white bits here, because there will still be some contrast within the plank, so I don't want to color it equally everywhere. That's what I meant with don't color everything the same. You don't want it pristine, you know, because it isn't. It's an old chest, probably dug up from another ship or from the bottom of a cave or whatever they were hiding it. That's how you should imagine it. They have stolen it from somewhere, and it was probably there for a long time. That was the way they transported everything back then. So stuff was kept in it, and probably for a really long time as well, because journeys were not that quick back then. It took you months to get from one place to the other. So they're probably pretty banged up. Okay, making a gradient from really dark and then lighter, a little bit lighter, more dark to the edge of the left side, and also this side I want really dark. Taking my time around the jewels because they need to shine. Don't want to have black on them for now. Alrighty, that's roughly what I wanted. Alright, then we're gonna do the side of the chest. This one I don't want as black, only on the sides. Again, I'm following the lines that are already there, and I make it a little bit darker here. Because of this bit, there should be a cast shadow, and there's an inside of the chest as well. And now I'm shading it into the inside, from dark to light. Same from the other side. Roughly like that. Maybe a little bit more dark here. It doesn't have to be exact, but this thing hurts my hand. That's unfortunate. All right, is there any black that I can add here? No, probably not. It's too full with stuff. So we're gonna add it on this part. This part I want really dark again for contrast. And there's another one here. Am I still in frame? Yes, I am. Perfect. And this is also, that's the part I wanted to erase, because that's also the chest. There we go. So I want to keep this part light, because that one might have some light parts. There's no light source, but still I want to have a difference between front and what's in view on the front bit of it. So there's depth. Hitting some black behind the pearls again. There's so much going on this tiny bit. It's a lot. Oh, let me scratch my head. All right. This part I want to leave mostly white for now. And I'm only going to shade the wooden part first. And then I'm also going to shade that afterwards. But I want this really dark. Somewhat dark. This is difficult like this. Let's do it like this. That's easier on my hand. I really have to think about this because there's a lot of items here. I want some shading underneath these bits. Roughly like that, probably. Yes, this is another jewel part, like a crown. It's a crown. Oh my goodness, it's a crown, people. Look at that lovely piece of jewelry. So yeah, this time I did add it all the way, because it's going over it. I'm just doing it how I think it looks nice. And once I've added black everywhere, I'm gonna have a look how it feels. And if I want to add any more. This looks weird. Yeah, that looks alright. Alright, then we are going in between. Let's make a mess. There we go. Really nice and black. Can't even tell because it's a bit shiny. Alright, also some black below all of this. That's a handle to carry it. I didn't even see that until I started coloring this bit. It's so much fun, so much detail that I didn't even see before I started. I do like it when there's a lot of detail. Yeah, I should have some shading underneath and more to the bottom. But it takes a lot of time, detail. So yeah, if you start a page like this, just remember it will take time before it's done. Alright, so that's the whole entire wooden part. There's some more here. So let's do that. I want to keep it light on top and darker here, but not too dark, because this will be lit up by this, or at least a tiny bit. Not much, but maybe a little bit. So keep that in mind. Don't make it too dark. It will still be quite dark, just so that you're aware. But I will leave a lot more white pieces because of it. Should be some shading because of this thing, the clasp. which is totally mangled up. Doesn't like being there. These sides I want dark. Some shading next to it. And that's about it, I think. Yeah, that's good enough. All right, now we're going to shade this part. But we use a lot less pressure than with the sides, because I want this to be a different family tone than the wooden parts. So just a light layer, like we did on the background. Just cover it up. Don't cover everything up, because I left a little bit of a space there with less shading, because I do want a gradient from like dark to light from the corners out. So from this corner out and from this corner out, but not much, because I want this to be still lighter so that it's 3D. This part as well, this one should be pretty dark because it's on the inside. Same with this, should be pretty dark. I want to make it darker next to the line, the edge of the both sides, like that. Pretty dark, but lighter than the inside. Don't make it too dark. Same with this one. This is just adding the value so that once we take the color, it will be nice and simple. Then we don't have to do the thinking, like where should it be dark, where should it be light, because you already done that thinking right now. You could also use a different color than black. You could also use like a brown or a blue or purple, depending on your picture, what suits the theme of it. But this is black is fine for a page like this. This is the wheel. Let's shade that in as well. Roughly like that. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, as long as there's a difference in shading, so that it looks nice once we put down a different color on top. All right, we were doing the chest, so let's continue that. Darker on the edge. Some shading next to the pearls. This is difficult. There's a lot going on here. I don't want to color everything because I want it to be shiny. Should add some shading in between all of this because there's a lot going on here. We'll all have cast shadows. Yep. Just to add them in so that we don't have to think about it too much when we get to it. Dark line next to the separation of the two. And there we go. This is a lot of copy, paste, repeat, you know, doing it on every little bit on the page. If you don't like it, go in again, add some more. And if you really don't like it, you've got an eraser, you know, take it away and start over. At some point that is not possible anymore, but then you can also still use some paint. If you really still don't like it, that's also an option. But that will be tough on a page like this, so I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, the chest is fine like this, I think. Maybe this part, because it's also underneath. I'll leave the outer edge white-ish, so that it pops later. This part I do want dark. Just a tiny bit of shading. Not too much. There's so much going on. Alright, then we continue with the wheel. This is, it feels like this is taking forever. I think I'm already coloring for an hour or so. Probably not, but maybe 45 minutes. But it feels like longer because I'm only doing black and more black and even more black. It just makes it feel like it's so long. I'm adding in a lot of black on the bottom pieces so it has a nice contrast with the background. If I wouldn't have done that, you wouldn't have seen them at all. I do think this is part of the wheel because look, like that. Same with that one, so I think it is. Alright, let's make that a little bit darker. Maybe we can save it a little bit. Not really. Never mind. Okay. Let's just pretend it's not there. Because you can't tell it's there anyway. It's a chalice, I don't want to call it that one. This should be dark because it's the outside again. Nice and dark on the bottom, and then the more we go up we want it lighter. This is the lightest bit and this should be the darkest. So let's first color everything in like that. Just the outer bit. This part I don't want to do just yet. I'll do that afterwards. So I don't want them exactly the same. I do want some difference in gradient. So I want it darker next to these poking things. And there you go. Nice and dark on this side. And there we go. Alright, now the inside. Nee, Spooky. Doe maar doorlopen, schat. Doe maar. Please move. Thank you. Ga maar in je doos. Goed zo. I've got a carton box for my cat on the left, where she can sit in while I'm coloring. She had one before, but she was done with it, so I took it away. And now I've got a new one, and this one is has gotten the okay sign again. So she's sitting in it again instead of on my coloring, which I like, because then she can still be close-ish to me while I'll color. There we go. That's all I will do for that side. Then we've got more of these things. So much. Oof. This is tough. A page like this. No, Spooky, no. Not today, sweetheart. Not today. Ga maar lekker liggen. Giving her some scratches. Doe maar liggen, schat. Good job. Yeah. She wants to be close because she's done sleeping. For now. She will sleep a lot more. She sleeps like almost the entire day. If you would ask me. This part is hit by the light again. So we should keep that in mind. So I want it less dark or less big of a dark section. And that's about it, I think, for all our other parts. Yes. So now I'm gonna also do that on the coins with a different, no, not with a different color. I'm gonna do it first with black, because I want all these sides of the coins all with this. And then for the coin itself, we're gonna use different colors. But for the outer bits, that's something, what the hell is that? I'm not sure. There's so much. It's probably a bangle or something, but it's a bit big for a bangle. Yeah, I'm gonna do this for all of them, but only on the sides. It's difficult to see what is and what isn't the side of a coin. So much going on. I do want to add some shading next to the jewelry. What is this? I'm not sure what is. Probably coins as well. Let's just leave it. These are not coins. That's background. That's a diamond. So many little pieces. Let's do some on the chalice or cup or whatever it is. More over here. So much to shade. And we've got more over here. I forgot a shadow for this one. Good thing that we looked again. The inside I want dark on the top. Let's shade it out lighter till the bottom. This part I want really dark. Nice round shape, like that. And then on the outer bit I only want the shading on the bottom. Roughly like so. Don't want to add too much, because then it gets muddy when we put in other colors. Some here because of the necklace. A little bit there because of the diamond. And there's more diamonds here and here, so that they stick out. Because that's what we're trying to do here, making everything pop. Which is difficult when you've got like a whole pile of these things. Yeah, I think that's enough. Maybe a little bit underneath that one. Didn't even see that part. And we also have to add in some brown, so I should color the whole thing, because it's a background that's dark. And there's also a necklace here. More shading. Is that everything? Probably not, but we will do it like this for now. Okay, we're gonna move on from the black finally. So what's next? The boat. Let's go continue back to the boat. There we have it. No, we're not going to do the boat. We're first gonna finish that background before I forget. We're gonna pick out this color, which is 180 raw umber. And we're gonna look at this. This is exactly what I mean. In order to avoid that, you can put a paper underneath your hand. but I am not bothering with the paper because I have I don't care. I will wash my hands once we're done. It will get dirty every time I touch it, so these will also be dirty. Yeah, they're also dirty. It's just what happens. There we go. So that's the background complete. Let me check if I missed anything over here. That was supposed to be background. I don't think I did. No. Okay, so this one can go away again. Then we're gonna go to the boat, like I told you we would. And we're gonna first add in an orange, like that one. So we're gonna pick, let me see which I'll pick. This one, which is 113 orange glaze. Orange glaze. That one. And we're gonna add it in next to the yellow that we put down. Like so. Doesn't have to be perfect, just add it in. And underneath, like so. That's it, and then we're also going to do it on this part. And on the outside a little bit. Not too much. And these bits. Don't color everything because you still want the highlight. So we should add in some yellow maybe as well, but I'm not sure yet what I want. So for now I'm keeping it like this. Just adding it in all over to make it warm. Also on the pedal. Just a little bit. Okay, that's all we do. It already looks so much nicer. Same with the barrel. Gonna add it in. To make it nice and warm next to the light. Also gonna add it in on the edge of the outside of the lamp. Like so. And there. Struggling a little bit, then I'm gonna add in a little bit to the flame like that. Let me zoom you in. Oh, let's move my book so you can see what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm putting it to the side of this bit, so this side and that side, like there and there. That's how I'm doing it. And I'm also going to add it onto these parts. I will zoom you back out once we've done this, because otherwise I can't show you everything. But now you can have a little bit of a closer look of what we're doing. These parts I'm going to color yellow, because you should have some light coming through. Not much, but some. Adding in some warm tones. Yes. And I'm also doing it on, do I want it on that part? No, I only want it on the wood, because I want to use a different color for the outside bits of the other metal bits. This is the wooden part that I'm doing right now. So yeah, I do want some different colors, like that. I don't color everything, just parts of it. Same with this. Just some, see? And a little bit of this, and also on the rope a tiny bit to warm it up, like that. That's it. So I'm gonna zoom you back out, because we're gonna move to the other side. Look how lovely. This looks really nice. That's the effect we want. We're just gonna keep adding on color. Now we're going back to this side again. And we're gonna do the same thing. So we're gonna do it next to the yellow over here. Adding it in. Blending it softly into the yellow. Not too much. And then I'm gonna use it all the way. because I kept some parts a little bit lighter on the edges, as you can tell. And I'm just slowly doing like that. That's it, no more. And then also on the outer parts of this, I'm gonna add in next to the black and these bits, like so. And here as well. But this time I put a little bit more pressure on it, because I want it a little bit darker than the bottom bit. Like that. I see I forgot those coins with the black. Let me do that real quick, because I don't want to have to come back. There we go. That's all the black I wanted. Alright, we were working on the wheel. Let's continue with the orange. This one I want red, so that one is not the same. So we're going to use it on this barrel. Like so. And a little bit there, just a tiny bit, not too much. Then this one is red again, because we don't need to add it there. We do it on this part. Because we put down the black, it will have a different effect than when you do this first. So that's all I'm gonna do with this one, the orange. Now we're gonna switch to, where's my cup? Oh, it's over there. I lost my cup. Let me see. I don't want any yellow. Oh, I forgot one. Hold up. Yeah. Let me add it there as well. Okay, that was the orange. Then we're gonna move to a brown tone. Let me see if I want to go immediately for this or this. I've got these tones, so that's this one and that's that one. So I think I'm first gonna do this one next to the orange to have a nicer blend to the darkest one. So we're gonna start with 188, which is that one. So let's move that to the side and continue. And we're gonna start with this one. So now I'm gonna put it in next to it like that, and I want to color it roughly to like that. Only the side bits I don't, because I want to use the darkest shade on that one for a nice contrast. I really hope we can at least finish these barrels and the gold pieces, but I don't know. It's taking quite some time doing all the preparation. It should make it easier now. You know, we've done all the hard work. Now we're just gonna add in the color. There we go. Adding in a little bit over here, not too much. And then we do the same on the wheel. As you can tell, this is the normal tone, and this is when you put black down. It's almost as if you've got two shades, which you don't, because it's just one color. But because you're doing it like this, it looks like you do have more colors than just this one. So I want to add it in all the way to roughly here, and then the last bit I want to do with the darkest one. But I do want to make it darker than here, so I'm applying a little bit more pressure. But because I didn't lay down the black on the sides, you can still see it's rather light. I did that on purpose, so that it pops next to the background. Also gonna add it on this bit a little bit. You might not even be able to tell, but I'm trying it anyway. You can tell. Good, very good. This one is now really completely saturated, the top bit. Can't take any more probably after this, which is fine because this is the look we wanted. We don't want to add on any more layers after this one. This is the final layer. Look how lovely warm that looks now. And that's how you do it, folks. That's how you make a nice contrasting background. Alright, that was everything on the wheel, I think. This part again. This one should be red, so I'm skipping this one. Not all the way to the edge, because there I want the darkest color. But most of it I do color with this shade. As you can tell, we don't have to really do much effort now, because we've done every bit of hard work with the black. It's doing the work for us now, so we only have to shade it. We don't have to think about highlights or dark pieces, because we've already done that work with the other shades. With the black. Oh, I'm destroying the page. Careful. Yeah, this paper really doesn't like it. All the layering. I'm trying not to ruin it. It's feeling so not nice, but it's alright. Okay, in this part I only use the darkest color we have, but look how lovely this looks. So warm. Really looks like a warm wood, and that's what I wanted. So now we do the same on these. Also on the ropes again. But on this one I don't want the darkest color, so for this one I only use this one next to it. And then I call that done. I don't want any other shades, but on the barrels I do. There we go. So nice and warm. It totally transforms the look of the drawing, the coloring, like this. All of a sudden it feels finished. Well, before with just the black, you're like, is this it? Yes, this is it. It does the work for you, which you can now really tell. This is what I like about coloring, that it's like magic, you know? You add in this, you add in that, and then you get this. I love it. This is what I like about Polychromos pencils, that you can do this kind of stuff. The layering, making different colors by applying them in a certain order. I love it. Alright, then the wood. Just a tiny bit. And this one as well. And there we have that one. Let me check. That's all the barrels. Yes, okay, the boat. It's not really handling it that well. It's resisting. As you can see, you don't have to be precise. You can just go over it in a rough manner. But my pencil is really not sharp, as you can tell. I do that on purpose so I don't ruin the paper. And then it's also easier to do like this rough, like I'm going over it kind of way. Oh, there's another rope over here. Let's just color it this color. I don't care. I really can't be bothered to do any more with it. But yeah, I like this, the way this looks. Nee, spook. Nee, liefheid, kom maar. Ga maar naar je doosje. Doe maar. Goed zo. She was almost standing on top of our picture. But I moved her. Let's hope she stays there. Making the pedal. Okay, I'm adding in some on the inside like this. On the lighter bits. But only on this side of the boat. I'm not doing it on that one. Just to keep it some contrast. Alright, that's all we're going to do with this one. And we're going to move to the darker one, which is 192 Indian red. And we're going to add it in all over the parts that we haven't been yet. We're just going to shade it in all the way. And now it really comes together. Once we've added this in, it will be so pretty. You're gonna see it come to life. And then all of a sudden, you've got a nice gradient. And then you think to yourself, did I do that? Yes, you did. And you did it. And it's beautiful. See the difference? Like, whoa! The magic. I love it. Coloring the front of the shelf that they're sitting on. I didn't add any black, so it would stick out back to the background, the inside of the boat. Otherwise it would have the same color and it wouldn't pop anymore. That's why I didn't place any black on it. So nice. Okay, move my arm so I can do the side of the boat. I'm surprised at how much I can still do on the paper. I was afraid this might not work because the paper doesn't like the layering, but it's not bad, you know. It's better than I expected it to work for today. Because I had so much trouble before. I did not expect it to work so well. But yeah, the technique is the technique, you know, that doesn't change. The only thing that changes is how much of a particular color you apply. So you just have to work with thinner layers in order to get the same effect. Because normally I would have put down way more pigment with the other colors first before I would do this. Because you could do way more layers than just 2 or 3, you know. With this one, 2 or 3 is the max, as you can tell. It really doesn't like it. But it's still pretty. Even though the texture looks horrible, the end result in total looks fine. You just don't want to stick your nose in the page. Because that will not look that pretty. There's another rope there. Okay, we do have to do some shading there. So I don't like the look of it otherwise. Let me pick some black quickly. We also forgot to make that one shaded as well. Roughly, something like that. I also want to do that on that one because it looks a bit weird otherwise. Alright, and then I don't want to use this one. I want to use the one before, which is 188 Sanguine. And I'm going to use it on this tiny piece of rope. And that's all it's gonna get. Okay, back to the Indian red. And let's continue where we were left off. Because I put down less black to the outside, it now gets a different color. Not sure if you can see it from this distance, but that's why I didn't lay down the black evenly all over the page to get this nice gradient. If you don't, if you would put down a flat layer, this would also look flat. It wouldn't have any contrast. Because if I do it like that, you can really see how much of a depth it still has. It's really lovely. Yeah, that's the boat. Okay, I'm gonna also do it on the handle of the lamp. So I like to think of this as wood. And this is the same as that one, so I don't want to do it over there. And in a little bit next to it. There we go. And then we shade in the parts that we haven't colored yet. And a little bit on top of the other one. Yes, I like it. And this is how you can do it for every element on the page, so that you've got a nice variety instead of doing it all with color. Because look how wonderful that looks. It's really pretty. This is what I like, the brightness of it. And these parts probably won't take much, but I'm gonna go over it one more time. See if it does take a little bit. Probably not. I don't see a difference. Not much at least. Yeah, this does take some more. Good. Nice, nice, nice. Very nice. Nice thick layer. Oh, I love it. Yes, I do. I love this very much. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Oh yeah, this is why I love coloring, making the magic happen. If you don't know that this is possible with your polychromos, then you're like, what the heck is she doing with all that black? Until you see this happen, then you're like, oh, that's why. Like, yeah, I didn't do it without a reason, you know. I don't want it to be muddy, and it isn't. As you can tell, it isn't muddy. It looks really nice. I'm gonna also color over there. Oh, that fixed it. Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. There we go. That's the wheel done. Then we've got, yeah, I'm in frame. I thought I had to move even more to the left. Then we're gonna do this bit. I can't wait till it's done and I can show you the entire page. Because it gets prettier and prettier with every episode. And I'm happy with it. Sometimes when I do things, I'm like, nah, not entirely what I envisioned, you know. But with this one, it's going how I wanted it to go so far. Maybe not the texture, but the final look, you know, the colors I picked. That's what I wanted. That the paper isn't doing what I expected it to do is something different. So yeah, that does change the final look of it, but I can still use the same colors that I picked out. So that's good. Because I wanted this really colorful. I didn't want to have a limited color palette. Just wanted to go all out, use everything I have. I don't care that I've got like 30 colors, maybe even more, I don't know. I've got a lot, let's just say that. There's a lot of them, and I might add even more for the jewels. Might add in some ohuhu, because they've got really lovely bright colors. Just for the diamonds and such. The really jewels, you know, the jewel pieces. I want really bright colors. So yeah, I might add in some ohuhu on those. I'm not sure if we can do that today, but let's see. Come on. Yeah. Fighting the paper. Yeah. Let's do all the bits so that I don't have to do this again. So tough. That's a tough movement. I like the look. There you go. That's that one. Looks lovely. The one in the background. And for this one we do the same idea, but then with reds. So we're gonna use a really bright red and a dark red to shade it. Instead of a light brown and a darker brown, we do it with the reds. So it's the same technique, different colors. So if you want to use this with different shades, it's possible. As long as you have the values right, this looks wonderful. You can play with it, you know, practice a little bit in a book that you maybe don't like as much. So you can just be free to try it out. And there we go. I think that was it. Let me see. I think that was all the wood. Don't you think? I think so. Yes, that was all the wood. Okay, then we're gonna continue with the metal. No, I'm first gonna do the red because I know it's annoying that it's still not colored. Let's do the red first. So we're gonna pick this one, which is 121. And it's called Pale Geranium Lake. That's our light color for the chest. So we're gonna use that on the top bit. I don't want any of the dark red on the top. Wouldn't look right. I only want to use that on mainly the inside. I didn't want this one to be brown as well because it would be too much brown, you know. I wanted a bit of a contrasty color for the middle chest, so it would stand out because of all the lovely loot inside. Hey, glorious loot. It always reminds me of that Disney movie where the seagulls are singing like glorious food. Instead, I always say glorious loot, you know, in my game. Like I got shinies, so I've got glorious loot. That's what this reminds me of, that song. It's actually not the same, but that's what I made of it. It's funny. Alright. Let's only do it on the parts that are lighter. And then on the outer bits, I want the darker red. Same with this one. Only on the inside. Roughly on the inside. It's a lot of shading on this part. And on this part, maybe a little bit here. just a tiny smidge, not too much. I mainly want the dark red on the inside. But because I left parts white, it really picks up the color nicely, as you can tell. And that's what I wanted. For a lovely shading. And there we have it. Okay, that's that one. Then we're going to the darker red, which is this one. It is 217 middle cadmium red. And we're going to shade in everything else on the inside of the chest. Is that the right one? It's that one. Yep, let's do it. It is the right one. I'm not sure if I like the look of it. Let me switch back to the red, because I don't like it. I'm just gonna continue with the red. Screw this. I don't like that. I don't like it. I'm not sure if I can fix it now, but it's fine. It has a hard time picking up the color anyway, because I put so much other pigment on it. Let's just do the entire thing with the red tone that we chose, because it looks weird with the other one. Just makes it like a orangey brown. I don't know why. So let's just skip it. Let's just do the work. Let's let the black do the work for us. Oh my goodness, that was a tongue twister. Yes. Sometimes I say something like 3 times or 5 times in a row, and I still can't pronounce it because my mind won't let me. It's like I'm stuttering. Well, I've never stuttered in my entire life, but ever since I got this neurological disorder, I have this problem with finding words and stuttering while trying to pronounce them. Because I never used to stutter while saying my English words at work, etc. I was just yeah, maybe that kind of stuff, but not stuttering, you know, repeating myself like 5 times in a row. It can be annoying, but most of the times it's funny, because I'm trying so hard, you know, like, and still can't pronounce it. I gotten used to it. And most of the times people know what I'm trying to say anyway, so why do all the trouble? I still try every single time. I don't give up easily. But when I do, I'm like, yeah, whatever, never mind. You know what I mean? You know? That's how I'm doing then, like, yeah, never mind. But that doesn't happen very often, that I give up. Never did. I like to always go and continue with things like this one. I'm not giving up on a page just because it takes a lot longer, you know? Like, yeah, it takes longer, but it's still moving, you know? I might take a break or 2 here and there to avoid me being crazy, you know? Because working on the same page for a whole week, that's too much. I need a break after 4 days in a row, roughly. 3 or 4 days is like the max that I want to work on one page, and then I want to move on to something else, even if I have to come back to it then afterwards, you know? But then at least I've done something else to have a fresh mind again, and then I can start again on the same page with well, a better look on the page as well, because sometimes you can't see what is missing, you know, if you are stuck. Sometimes it's better to take a break and to continue on a different day, because then all of a sudden you have another look and you're like, ah, that doesn't look right, and you know exactly what's wrong with it. Well, if you're like literally working on, you know, on it day in, day out for so many hours, you just can't tell anymore, you know. So then having a break is actually a good thing. Taking a break when you're stuck. course, don't take a break for like months on end, because then you're not in the swing of things anymore. You don't know what you've done, you know, you don't know your combinations. You just forget about what you've done to make it happen, what you already have on the page. And that usually doesn't work out that well, because then you forgot most of the parts. It can still work, but it will take time then to get back into it, you know? You have to work a little bit harder to finish it. Well, if you already done a lot of work, you still know exactly what you've done. And it's much less thinking required, which I like. And there we have it. We've got a red chest. Not sure if you can really tell. Yeah, this is better. You see? Oh my goodness, it works so well. Yes, you didn't need the other one. Screw the other one. This is much better. What was I thinking? Okay, now we've got all that done. We're gonna continue with the metal bits. And what do I want for that? Let me check my page. We could use that one. Or a brown. Let me test something on this page while we're at it. Let me make like, this is just my tester page, you know. Make the gradient that we just did, and then do some on that side as well. Make it 2. I'm just gonna test it out before we apply it to the page, because I'm not sure what I want. All right, that's enough. And then I'm gonna take the 180 sanguine, I think. No, raw umber. And I'm gonna put it on top. See what it looks like. Do I like it? Maybe it's too brown, too much like the background, that's why I chose it. Then I can also go for the 283 brown. That might be a bit too, no, that's too much similar to that, so that's a no. Then we can do a gray. That's way too gray, never mind. And then I'm stuck for options, I think. Okay, let's just do that one, screw it. Let's do that one. Yeah, we're gonna go for this one. 180 raw umber, the same as what we used on the background. Well, it does tie it in together with the rest of the page, so it's fine. Alrighty, let's do it. Let's go over it. Yeah, that looks alright. It's not bad at all. If you're not sure, that's the way to go, you know? Test it out on a page. Like I just did. It does look a little bit dirty now. So that's fine. That's what the look I wanted. It's maybe a little bit more yellowish than I wanted, but I am okay with that. It's fine. It fits the page because of the background. If I wouldn't have chosen a warm background, this would have been ugly, and I probably would have wanted more of a blue tone for the metal, like a grayish blue. Yeah, that's fine. Good. Good thing. It still stands out next to the other wood part, and that's what I wanted, so it's fine. It doesn't matter that it's not exactly how I imagined it, but it looks nice. It's like an old metal-y look, you know, an old gold look. It can be metal, it can also be gold. You can't really tell, and that's fine. That's what I wanted. So yeah, now I'm gonna color everything else like this. I've put the alarm on 2 hours, so we've still got some time left to finish at least these parts. Just so that you are aware that this one will be a little bit longer than the last few. They were like 1.5 hours long, and this one will be a little bit longer. Because I really wanted to have a chance to finish up. Like, look, that looks really nice. It almost looks like it's gold, but then with a dirty look. I like it. It's not bad at all. I do want the coins to be a different look than the chest bits. So we're gonna pick something different for those. And this part like that. Nice warm tone. I like it. I'm happy with the choice I made. Yep. I might even use this also on the coins, but in combination with a different color. I'm not sure yet what I will do. Got time to think while we do this. So much to color. This technique of laying it down a layer with a gradient, in this case with black, is also something some people do with watercolor. Then they first lay down all their shadows with, for instance, a blue tone, and then they use the tones they want on top of it. Basically the same technique. But yeah, it works really well, as you can tell. It saves you the thinking afterwards. You do the thinking first, and then you only have to think about what colors you want on top. That's easier than the other way around. Because if you also have to think about the color and then also have to shade in that color, you need a lot more different colors, you know, not just 1 or 2, but maybe even 5 or more, you know, depending on what you're trying to achieve. And because this paper doesn't handle that, I thought about doing it this way. So it doesn't need to take more than two pencils or 3 pencils at a time. And it's working out. Oh my goodness. This book will be so banged up when I'm finally done with all the pages. Look, so many stripes on the side, see? Oh my goodness. It will be so banged up once it's finally completely colored. I love it. A piece of art, you know, banged up. Nah, the cover is still nice, but the papers might not be as pristine anymore because of all this. Oh. I really am trying to be careful, but it's difficult. There we go, that was better. Yeah, it looks like an old gold. I like it. Rusty gold. Yes. Lovely. Not bad at all, huh? Let's do this one first. I forgot a little bit over here. Let's just color it like this because that's also a metal part. At least that's what I think. Might not be. It might have been wood as well, but I thought it was a metal part. Looks nice like that. So it's fine. I also want to color this bit because I also done that with that one. So let's keep it consistent. You can tell that I'm coloring over the yellow that we placed, and it won't even take this color, so you can easily just color over it once you've put a layer down quite heavily and not worry about it ruining it, as you can tell. Alright, one more piece of the barrel and the candelabra, then we're done with this for now. At least that's what I think, but if I want it on the coins, I am not done, but I don't think I do, because I think I want them a lot warmer. And I'm not sure if we've got time for all the coins. So let's just see. Because we're already working on this for quite long. I don't think it's wise to start on the coins and not finish it. So we might leave that for next time. At least fill out these candelabra bits. Finish this up. I think that was all that we've done. Let me have a closer look for you. Trying not to shake for you so you can really see it. Look how lovely. That looks really bright. Let's go to the other side. So yeah, that's all the parts we've done. But as you can tell, the background is now a lot lighter. That's what I meant with I want to keep the background light so that everything in the foreground pops. This pops even a little bit too much, I think. But it might be alright once we've colored like her head and such. Might be alright. Might not be bothering me because this is also really bright. So yeah, I think this is really nice. I like it. And it doesn't look weird next to him because you can't really tell, but these are more like his real colors. If I hold it up, you can pretty see it much better. I might have to add a little bit of black over there because of like it's a bit less contrast, but it's not really necessary. But yeah, that's something I'm thinking about. So let's remove this one. Let's see if we can make a start on the jewels. I want to have some bright colors on them. So let's start with a bright red. which is this one, 121, Pale Geranium Lake. And let's make something red. Okay, what do we have? Let's see what we have in our treasure. These are all coins. There's a diamond here, a diamond there. So that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a whole necklace with the big one. Okay, so that's something that should be like red, purple, or pink, red, or all pink. You know what I mean? So this one can be different and that one can be different. And then we've got another necklace over here with 2 different types and one over here. So I think I want to make the one on top a different color than red because of the chest. So this one is going to be red. I'm not going to color everything in. I'm only color the sides. And I'll leave a lot of white. In this part I want really dark. You want to leave a lot of white with jewels for it to pop. Like that. That's it. That's all it takes. So we're also going to do that on one of these. So I think I'm gonna do it on this one. Might be a bit tricky because it's really tiny. But we're gonna give it a try. Let's at least give a pop of color, you know, to them. We will finish up the coins and everything else the next time. But I do want to give at least some color to these jewels. There we go. That's all the red I think I want. There's also those nails on that, but I think I want to keep those gold. There's one over here. There's more over there. Let's also make these red. They're really tiny, so I can't really color them too much. So let's just leave it like that. Okay, next color. We've done red. Now we want a nice blue or green. I want that one. 161. Is it this one? Yes. I want a nice green. And I want to do that on the long one. Is that the same one? Yes, it's the same shape. So yes. Okay. As you can tell, I'm not really that bothered by what should be this and multiple tones because they're just too small for all that detail, you know. So that's all that. Then I want maybe some green on that one. No, I want a blue next to the green. I am thinking about a green necklace. Because it gives a nice pop next to the red. I'm probably going to make the other one blue-ish or pink or purple. Depending on what I like. This is probably the same one. Let's continue it. As you can tell, I'm not coloring in the entire thing. Just the outsides roughly. Making a little white dot in the middle. And coloring everything else. That's it for that one. And then I'm gonna add in a blue. And for that I want... let me see. Not too dark. I've got that one. We've got multiple options. Let me see. This is a different one. That's a really nice one. Let's do this one. It's 145. Let me write that down for you. 145. That's a different one. That's the one we're gonna use. I'm gonna use it on the one next to the leaf. Just like that. Not much, but it does give a nice look. Want a little bit more there for contrast. To make the bottom a bit darker. Yes, I like that. I want a different tone on that one. I do want a blue one, so this one can be blue. That one we will probably make purple or pink. This one will be the blue one. The big one will be blue. Because there's also a smaller one next to it. This is me just spreading out the colors, you know, so that it's not the same everywhere on the page. Because if you do the same one everywhere, it's not interesting anymore. That's why I'm just picking out some bits, you know, just all over the place. I forgot that part with the brown. Let's do that before we finish today. Yeah, this is just to spread out the colors evenly over the page. If you make them all the same, it's boring. That's why I'm doing it this way. Picking contrasty colors for these things. All right. That one I want yellow, I think. Just bright, bright yellow. But first we're going to do a pink. So for the pink, I think I want to go with the Ohuhu. Where's my Ohuhu? This is my cup with my Ohuhu pencils that I picked. They're really bright colors. I think it's this one that I want. Let me test. Yes. It's almost fluorescent. You see? That's the one I like. Which one is it? Pink 71 by Ohuhu Halawa. And we're gonna use it on the pearls, the small pearls here. Just because it's a nice contrasting pink. If I would put like a pink from the Faber-Castell on it, they are way more muted, so it wouldn't pop at all. You wouldn't even be able to tell it probably. But these parts are so tiny, it's so difficult. This is the necklace. All right, there's another gem there. That will also be yellow. I'm going to do that one and that one yellow. And probably that one. Not sure yet, because this one I want... Do I want that one yellow and that pink? Yeah, that's also a good option. Is there any more? No. Yes, this one. That's probably... Is that the same one? Yes, probably. There we go. Probably the same one, you know, going all under the coins. At least that's what I imagine. It's really hard to shade these, so I'm not really bothered. As long as it's got a color, it's fine. There we go. That's the Ohuhu pink. Then I want a purple. It might be a bit too purple. That's a different one, but still too dark. Do I have anything else? Got that one. That's also an Ohuhu. Or I can use that one. The one in his head. I think I want that one. The 125. Where is it? Did I put it in the wrong cup? Yes, I did. Oh my goodness. I'm stuck. Where is it? This one is it. Yes. Okay, 125. There we go. It only took like a few minutes. Come on. I'm gonna use it for some shading. Because I think it's a bit too light. Just a tiny smidge. Oh, you can barely tell, but... Nah. I can make the little tiny ones on the crown this color if I like. You can barely tell that it is a color. Oh goodness. That's tough. Yeah, I prefer pink, but maybe then I need to do this yellow. It could work, but I want a yellow. No, I want a yellow. Keep to the plan. Stick to the plan. Yellow. Ow. I do want this color. I want a color in this one. Just because I don't like it all gold in the end. And the same with this one. I want a color on it. As if they're gems. Just to make it a little bit more. Okay, yellow. Yellow it is. This one. 185 Naples yellow. And we're gonna add it on this one. Just like that. And on this one. And then on this one. Yeah, I think I do want the coins to be a little bit old gold with some yellow. Because otherwise it will not pop at all. But I think, oh, we've got one more there. Let's make that one green. And then we stop for today. Which green did I pick? 161. This one. No, the other one. This one. Yes. Phthalo green. 161. Let's go. And then it's probably time to stop for today. We did get far, but not as far as I hoped. But yeah, we need one more time to finish this page. So one more session. And then it will be done, folks. We'll be done. Oh yeah. We got this, you know? We got this. We can do it. Because we're almost at the 2-hour mark, I think. Almost 2 hours. So yeah, this is a long session for today. I'm gonna finish up that handle before I forget. Because that is not something I want to deal with next time. 180 raw umber. Let's color that one in. And the handle I want the same as that one. So that will be, what is it? Indian red, 192. Yep, that's it. Okay, that's where we are leaving it for today. Let me move it a little bit more in frame so you can see at least something. Yeah, that's the left part. I can't show you all in one go. Let's show the whole page roughly. All right, I'm gonna lay it down here. That's how far we've come today. And next time we will finish all the coins. And we will finish this head of the pirate. And the little one, we still need to do the fur and his little stick. So that's what we are going to do the next time. And we're going to do the finishing touches. And it will be done. So one more time, people. One more time. I hope you will be there to join me for our last episode. And I'll leave you today. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.